In this video, we look at 4 key Panerai releases for Watches and Wonders 2026, and it's fair to say it's quite the time capsule in more ways than one. So the brand has gone back to the well, drawing heavily on the reference 6152/1 of the 1960s to produce a collection of hand-wound, vintage-inspired Luminors. We're diving into 4 new references today: the Luminor PAM01731 and its left-handed Destro sibling, the PAM01732, the Brunito-finished Luminor 8 Giorni PAM01733 with an 8-day movement, and the big and bold Luminor PAM01735 in steel. With the Panerai Luminor PAM01731 and Destro PAM01732, the headline story here is a case architecture translation. For the first time, Panerai's revered 6152/1 and its original 47mm cushion case geometry has been scaled down to 44mm. The result retains the true cushion middle case and flat crown protecting bridge, but in a more contemporary size and with a robust 300-meter depth rating. However, the stainless steel cases have an elegant sensibility despite being a tool watch, with a polished case that only introduces satin brushing on that flat crown protection. As a tribute to these watches born for the Italian Navy, Panerai utilizes a domed sapphire crystal for both references in order to simulate the look and feel of the Perspex crystals used in Luminor watches from the 60s. The vintage feel is furthered with the usage of patina simulating Beige SuperLuminova and thin pencil hands. The PAM01731 has a rich matte grainy tobacco dial, a notable color returning to the Panerai portfolio. It's a dark gradient subtle brown that almost feels like the beginning of a dial developing a tropical patina, but not quite just yet. It's a very clean, easy to read dial, a must-have characteristic for Panerai watches, with the signature sandwich dial construction that results in a full, vibrant disc of lume emitting light through the Arabic numeral slits to ensure absolute ease reading the time in darkness. The Destro PAM01732 shares the same 44mm diameter, robust depth rating, and signature crown protection system and sandwich dial construction, but the dial is instead executed in a matte grainy dark blue hue and does not have a small seconds indication, just the hours and minutes. Though it feels a little odd not having a running seconds display on a sporty diver's watch, there is a serene purity to the dial and its full set of Arabic hour cardinals. As a Destro, the crown is positioned on the left side of the case instead of the right, which is not just an olive branch to the lefty right wrist watch buying contingent. This Destro configuration has archival precedent. Giuseppe Panerai conceived it specifically for military divers who needed their left hand free for instruments like a compass or depth gauge, allowing the watch to be worn on the right wrist comfortably. Both watches utilize and exhibit Panerai's 72-hour P6000 caliber and are offered with both a brown leather strap and a bundled dial-matching rubber strap. And both watches will be available beginning in April 2026 and will both be priced at $9,200 US. Next up is the Panerai Luminor 8 Giorni Brunito 44mm PAM01733. The standout here is the Brunito finishing that is performed on this 300-meter water-resistant case. Begins with a black PVD layer applied over steel, then manually brushed in a defined direction to selectively reduce the coating, mimicking the natural wear pattern of field use instruments. As a result, every case ends up subtly unique. In my opinion, it's really well done, not too over the top, and visually intriguing even without factoring in the heritage element of this finishing's inception. It just looks good, plain and simple. Panerai's opted to give the dial a bit of flare and light play, which may run counter to the normal stifling of reflective dial surfaces to uphold the utmost legibility. That being said, the anthracite dial and its notably hand-executed circular brushed finish is both lively and legible, so we're still good. It also creates a strong through line between the case finish and dial, resulting in a monochromatic feel that is very in demand and trending these days. Keeping with the vintage feels, the sandwich dial construction reveals the full disc of Beige SuperLuminova beneath, and at 9 o'clock, you have a running small seconds for those who like seeing that their watch is alive from the front. Another key point of the PAM01733 is its usage of the Panerai P5000 caliber, which delivers an 8-day power reserve or 192 hours. It's a historically significant figure for Panerai, rooted in Giuseppe Panerai's selection of the Angelus SF240 movement for the GPF 2/56 in the 1950s, which also ran 8 days to minimize crown winding and protect water resistance integrity. The Panerai Luminor 8 Giorni Brunito 44mm PAM01733 will be available beginning in June 2026 and will be priced at $11,300 US. Last but certainly not the least, considering it's the biggest watch we're looking at today, is the Luminor 47mm steel PAM01735. Unlike the previous trio of 44mm watches, this one stays true to the original 47mm size of the 6152/1. No scaling, although it's slightly thinner than the original. Interestingly, despite being the largest, this 47mm stainless steel case has a lower 100-meter depth rating. But keep in mind, its water resistance is still protected by the signature crown lock protection system and, like the other three watches mentioned, rigorously tested. The case and gaskets undergo a simulated 10 years of aging, followed by an initial test to assess protection against dust and humidity infiltration. Then, once the entire watch is assembled, without the strap, it proceeds to a multi-stage water resistance verification, whereby the watches are tested an additional 25% beyond the stated pressure rating. So I think you're going to be okay. With the PAM01735, Panerai leans into a very heavy tropical dial effect. The ivory matte sandwich dial features a brown varnish gradient that deepens towards the edges and lightens at the center, deliberately referencing the way aged black dials on vintage Panerai pieces shifted toward warm brown and ivory tones over many decades. We once again have Beige SuperLuminova peering through the sandwich dial construction and a small seconds indication at 9 o'clock. Inside is Panerai's hand-wound P3000, a 3-day caliber that derives its endurance from 2 barrels in series. It notably includes a quick set hour function, which allows you to independently adjust the hours hand as you change time zones. So it's a nice travel feature. The Panerai Luminor 47mm steel PAM01735 will also be available beginning in June 2026 and is priced at $12,400 US. At the position each of these novelties are priced, Panerai is clearly positioning itself against a more premium dive watch competitive set. Understandable considering Panerai is a premium dive watch brand with a clear established heritage in the space. And it's this heritage, storytelling, and vintage-inspired design that will ultimately be the driver for watch buyers to purchase these pieces. Though at 44mm and certainly 47mm, these larger dive watches are perhaps not the most suited for my smaller 6.5-ish inch wrist, which for the record, I'm not the wrist model in this video. Looking at these watches, I want to go hit the gym so I can build the wrist meet to suit the Luminor 8 Giorni Brunito 44mm PAM01733. Of the group, it's definitely my favorite, with its handsome monochromatic appeal, distinct finishes, and 8-day movement. But it's safe to say that Panerai fans worldwide will really love this new collection of Luminor watches as a whole. It's a fresh take on its greatest hits. So let me know which of these Panerai Luminors is your favorite and your thoughts on the entire new Luminor group as a whole in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe to the Time+Tide channel for all the latest watch news, reviews, and content. As always, see you on the next one.